The silence in the Galactic Council chambers was heavy and cold. Ambassador David Chen stood in the center of the circular room, his hands bound behind his back with energy restraints that hummed softly. Around him, 7 massive thrones rose into the darkness above, each one holding a representative of the elder species that ruled the galaxy. Their eyes, in all their alien forms, looked down at him with what could only be described as contempt. Chen had been standing there for 6 hours. His legs ached, his throat was dry, and his uniform was stained with sweat. But he kept his back straight and his chin up. He would not give them the satisfaction of seeing him break. "The Council has reached its decision," High Arbiter Thessian announced from the central throne. The tall reptilian creature's voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. His scales shimmered with a golden light that marked his species as one of the oldest in the galaxy.
Humanity stands accused of illegal military expansion, violation of the non-aggression concordat, and unprovoked attacks against the Vrex Dominion.
The evidence presented is clear and undeniable. Chen wanted to laugh at that. Evidence. They called it evidence when everyone in this room knew the truth. The Vrex had attacked human colonies first. They had killed thousands of innocent people. They had destroyed 3 settlements before humanity even had a chance to respond. And when the human defense forces finally pushed them back, suddenly humanity was the aggressor. "The evidence is fabricated," Chen said, his voice steady despite his exhaustion. "The Vrex attacked us first. We have records, testimonies from survivors, sensor logs from our stations. Everything we submitted to this council was ignored." "Silence," Thessian hissed. "You were permitted to present your defense. The council found it lacking. War Master Krell of the Vrex Dominion provided clear documentation of human aggression. Multiple independent witnesses confirmed their account. Your so-called evidence was deemed unreliable." From one of the lower thrones, War Master Krell leaned forward. The Vrex were large insectoid creatures with armored carapaces and multiple limbs. Krell's mandibles clicked together in what Chen had learned was their version of a smile. "Humanity is young and impulsive," Krell said, his voice buzzing through a translator. "They lack the wisdom to exist peacefully in civilized space. They expand too quickly, take resources that belong to others, and respond with violence when challenged. The Vrex Dominion only defended what was rightfully ours." "You attacked civilian colonies," Chen shot back. "Women and children died because of your ships. You can dress it up however you want, but that's murder." "Enough," Thessian said, raising one clawed hand. "The judgment is final. Humanity is hereby ordered to complete demilitarization within 1 standard year. All military vessels will be surrendered to Council oversight. All weapons manufacturing facilities will be dismantled under VREX supervision. Furthermore, all human colony worlds beyond the Sol system will be placed under Council administration for a period of 200 years. The words hit Chen like physical blows. 200 years. That was longer than most humans lived, even with their medical technology. Generations would grow up under alien rule, never knowing true freedom. And complete demilitarization meant Earth and her colonies would be defenseless, vulnerable. "You are sentencing my people to slavery," Chen said quietly. "You know that, don't you? Without the ability to defend ourselves, we will be prey for anyone who wants to take what we have. The Council will ensure your protection," Thessian replied, though his tone suggested he did not care much either way. "Humanity brought this upon themselves. Perhaps in 2 centuries your species will have learned the discipline necessary for galactic civilization." Chen looked around the chamber at the other council members. The crystalline luminary representative said nothing, its surface glowing with patterns he could not read. The aquatic depthswalker watched from its tank with huge, unblinking eyes. The feathered Cretal, the plant-like verdant, the energy beings called the Chorus, and the mechanical architects. 7 species that claimed to represent justice and order in the galaxy. Not one of them spoke in humanity's defense. "This is not justice," Chen said. "This is politics. The Vrex want our territory, and you are giving it to them. Every species in this room knows the truth, but you are too afraid of the Vrex military to stand against them. So you sacrifice us instead. Remove him," Thessian ordered. 2 guards, members of a client species that served the Council, moved forward to take Chen by the arms. He did not resist as they pulled him toward the exit. But as he reached the massive doors that would take him out of the chamber, he stopped and turned back. "You think you have won," Chen called out, his voice carrying through the vast space. "You think humanity will just accept this. that we will go quietly into the night and let you steal everything we have built. But you have made a mistake. And what mistake is that? Krell buzzed, amused. Chen smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. You have taught us that justice is a lie, that mercy is weakness, that the only thing that matters in this galaxy is power. We came to you as friends, hoping to join a community of civilized species. Instead, you showed us what you really are. Are you threatening the Council? Thessian demanded. No, Chen replied. I am making a promise. You will regret this day. All of you will regret what you have done here. Because humanity learns quickly and we never forget. Never. The guards pulled him through the doors before he could say more. The last thing Chen saw was Krell's mandibles clicking together in laughter. As the doors sealed behind him, Chen allowed himself a moment of genuine emotion. His shoulders sagged and he closed his eyes. It was done. The Council had made their choice. Now humanity would make theirs. In his pocket, hidden from the Council's sensors by technology they did not know humans possessed, a small device pulsed 3 times. The signal had been sent. Back in Sol system, encrypted across every human world and station, a single code word appeared on secure channels. Exodus Dr. Sarah Okonkwo sat in her office deep beneath the surface of Mars, watching the transmission from the Council chambers. Her dark eyes were cold as she watched Chen being dragged away. She had expected this outcome, had planned for it in fact, but seeing it happen still filled her with a burning anger that she kept carefully controlled. Initiate Protocol Exodus, she said calmly into her communicator. All phases. We are now officially at war, even if they don't know it yet. Across human space, the machine that was humanity's true defense began to move. Ships that the Council did not know existed began to power up in hidden bases. Colonists on the worlds marked for surrender began boarding transports in the dead of night. Factories that supposedly made civilian goods shifted to military production. And in the darkness between the stars, in systems that appeared on no galactic charts, the real work began. Chen had spoken truly. The Council had taught humanity a lesson that day. But it was not the lesson they intended. They had taught humanity that in this galaxy, only the strong survived, and humanity was very, very good at learning. 3 months had passed since the Council's judgment, and the galaxy watched as humanity began its humiliating retreat. On worlds throughout human space, transport ships landed to collect military equipment and weapons. Council observers documented every deactivated defense station, every mothballed warship, every dismantled weapons factory. The elder species nodded in satisfaction. Humanity was learning its place. On the Vrek's homeworld of Krellvar, celebrations continued for weeks. War Master Krell stood on a balcony overlooking crowds of his people, their chittering voices raised in victory songs. Already, Vrek's colony ships were moving toward the former human worlds. Rich planets with good atmosphere and abundant resources now theirs for the taking. It had been almost too easy. The humans are weak. Krell's second-in-command buzzed beside him. They fold at the first sign of real pressure. Perhaps we should petition the Council for more of their territory. Krell's mandibles clicked in agreement. In time. Let them finish their withdrawal first. Then we will see what else they might surrender to avoid conflict. But not everyone in the galaxy celebrated. In the Council chambers, Councillor Mira of the Talsheen people watched the reports with growing unease. The Talsheen were a slender, graceful species known for their philosophical nature and long memories. Mira had voted against humanity's punishment, one of only 2 council members to do so. Now she wondered if she should have fought harder. The humans were too calm, too organized. Their withdrawal from the colonies was systematic and efficient. Nothing like the chaos she would expect from a defeated species facing the loss of everything they had built. Every human ship that left a colony world was full of civilians and personal belongings, but sensor scans showed the cargo holds nearly empty. Where were all the supplies? The equipment? The infrastructure? They are hiding something, she said to her aide, a younger Talsheen named Kess. The Council inspectors have certified every withdrawal, Kess replied. The humans are complying with all requirements. That is what concerns me, Mira said quietly. On Mars, deep in the fortified complex that housed human defense intelligence, Dr. Sarah Okonkwo moved between holographic displays with practiced efficiency. Around her, hundreds of analysts worked in focused silence, coordinating the largest covert operation in human history. Status report, she said, her voice carrying through the command center. Section 7 reports successful evacuation of Proxima Colony. 4,000 colonists relocated to Site Omega-12. Infrastructure stripped and relocated. Colony appears abandoned to all sensors. The analyst's voice was steady, professional. Section 12 confirms last shipment from New Terra. Population relocated to Site Theta-7. Terraforming. Equipment salvaged and in transit. Section 9 reports successful camouflage of site. Alpha 1. Council scans show only asteroid field. Hidden shipyards operational at 93% capacity. Okonkwo nodded, making notes on her personal display. Every human colony marked for council administration was being emptied. Not abandoned. Emptied. Every piece of valuable equipment, every trained worker, every ounce of resources was being moved to hidden locations in deep space. Systems that existed beyond the range of galactic sensors, found by human scout ships years ago and kept secret. Protocol Exodus was not a retreat. It was a relocation. How many more sites do we need to complete? She asked. 17 colonies remain. All evacuations on schedule. Estimated completion in 4 weeks. Good. And the council observers? They see exactly what we want them to see. Empty buildings, deactivated power grids, abandoned settlements. By every measure they can detect, we are complying fully with their demands. Okonkwo allowed herself a small smile. Keep it that way. How are the shipyards progressing? A new hologram appeared before her, showing a massive construction facility hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid. Dozens of ships in various stages of completion filled the docks, each one incorporating technology the Council had never seen. Shipyard Omega is ahead of schedule. We will have the first fleet battle ready in 8 months. Shipyard Theta is on schedule. Shipyard Alpha has begun construction of the heavy cruisers. Excellent. And the research divisions? Dr. Chen's team has made breakthrough progress on the ancient gate technology. We can now create stable jump points to any location within 500 light-years. Dr. Yamamoto's weapons division has completed testing on the new energy dampening systems, and the stealth technology has exceeded all expectations. Okonkwo nodded slowly. The galaxy thought humanity was primitive, young, barely more advanced than their own ancient ancestors. What they did not know was that humans had been preparing for betrayal since their first contact with galactic civilization. Earth's history was full of lessons about what happened to the weak and trusting. Humanity had learned those lessons well. Contact Captain Rivera, she said. Tell him to begin Phase 2. Captain Marcus Rivera stood on the bridge of the stealth ship Revenant, watching the stars through the view screen. His ship was one of humanity's secrets, built in hidden shipyards using technology reverse-engineered from ancient ruins humanity had found in dead systems. To any scanner, the Revenant did not exist. It was a ghost, invisible and silent. All systems green, Captain, his first officer reported. Stealth field holding at maximum efficiency. We are completely invisible to all known sensor types. Good, Rivera said. Take us into Vrex territory. I want eyes on their fleet movements near our former colonies. Record everything, but do not engage under any circumstances. We are watching only. Aye, Captain. The Revenant slipped through space like a shadow, passing Vrex patrol ships that never knew it was there. Rivera watched the enemy vessels with cold eyes. The Vrex thought they had won, thought they could take human worlds without consequence. They had forgotten that humans did not forgive easily, but that was fine. Let them forget. Let them grow comfortable. The Council, too. Let them all believe that humanity was defeated, humiliated, gone. Then, when the time was right, humanity would remind them of their mistake. Back on Earth, Ambassador Chen sat in his apartment, watching news feeds from across the galaxy. The reports were all the same. Humanity in retreat. The Vrex expanding. Other Council species beginning to squabble over what had been human trade routes and resources. Already, some species were realizing what they had lost. Human merchants had operated throughout galactic space, providing goods and services that kept hundreds of systems running smoothly. Human engineers had maintained infrastructure on dozens of worlds. Human traders had connected markets that otherwise would never interact. All of that was gone now. And the cracks were starting to show. Supply chains that had run smoothly for decades were breaking down. Resources that had moved freely were now stuck in bureaucratic tangles, as different species fought over who controlled what trade routes. Prices for basic goods were rising across the galaxy, and in some systems shortages were beginning to appear. Chen's communicator chimed. He activated it to see Okonkwo's face appear. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Like I just watched my species get stabbed in the back," Chen replied honestly. "But I will survive." "How is Exodus progressing?" "On schedule. We will be ready sooner than expected. The Council's observers are satisfied that we are complying. They have no idea what we are really doing." "Good," Chen said. "They wanted us disarmed. They wanted us dependent. Instead, they gave us the motivation to become something they never imagined. The question is whether we can maintain the deception long enough," Okonkwo said. "If they discover what we are doing before we are ready, everything falls apart." Chen smiled grimly. "They won't discover anything. They are too busy celebrating their victory and fighting over the scraps. Humans are already yesterday's problem to them. They have moved on. Then they are fools." "Yes," Chen agreed. "They are. And soon enough, they will pay for that foolishness." The transmission ended and Chen returned to watching the news feeds. Somewhere out there in the darkness, his people were building something new, something powerful. The Council thought they had broken humanity's spirit. Instead, they had forged it into something harder and more dangerous than anything the galaxy had seen in centuries. And when humanity returned, the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months had passed since the last human ship departed from Council space, and the galaxy was learning to live without humanity. It was not going well. High Arbiter Thessian sat in his private chambers, reviewing reports that grew more concerning with each passing day. Trade routes that had functioned smoothly for decades were now in chaos. The Luminari and the Kretal were fighting over control of the former human shipping lanes. 3 minor species had gone to war over resources that humans used to distribute fairly, and the economic data showed a decline in galactic productivity of nearly 18%. "How did we not see this coming?" he muttered to himself. The truth was that humanity had been far more integrated into galactic civilization than anyone realized. They were not members of the Council, not one of the elder species, not even particularly respected. But they had been everywhere. Human merchants, human engineers, human diplomats working quietly in the background to keep things running smoothly. Now they were gone, and the galaxy was discovering all the small, invisible ways humanity had made things work. But Thessian had larger concerns than trade disputes. For the past month, ships had been disappearing near the edges of Rex territory. Patrol vessels mostly, but also 2 small colony transports. The Vurex claimed it was equipment failures or navigation errors, but the pattern was too consistent to be coincidence. "Perhaps we should have left the humans their military," his aide suggested carefully. Thessian's scales flushed red with anger. The humans were a threat to galactic stability. The Vrex provided clear evidence of their aggression. The Council's decision was correct. The aide said nothing more, but Thessian could see doubt in their eyes. That doubt was spreading throughout the Council. Councillor Mira had been particularly vocal in her concerns, gathering support among some of the younger species. She claimed the trial had been unjust, that the evidence against humanity was suspicious. Thessian dismissed her arguments, but more Council members were starting to listen. On the Vrex homeworld, War Master Krell was not thinking about trade disputes or economic data. He was thinking about the 16 ships that had vanished from his fleet in the past month. 16 ships gone without a trace. No distress calls, no debris. Just empty space where his vessels should have been. "Show me the last known positions again," he commanded. The hologram displayed the locations where each ship had disappeared. They formed a pattern around the edges of newly claimed Vrex territory, the worlds that had once belonged to humanity. Krell studied the map with growing unease. "All disappearances occurred in formerly human systems," his intelligence officer buzzed. "No witnesses. No survivors. Sensor logs from nearby stations show nothing unusual." "That is impossible," Krell said. "Ships do not simply vanish. There must be debris, energy signatures, something." "There is nothing, War Master. It is as if the ships never existed." Krell's mandibles clicked together nervously. He had served in the Vrex military for 40 years, fought in a dozen campaigns, conquered 6 species. He had never encountered anything like this. Ships could be destroyed. Ships could be captured, but ships could not simply cease to exist. unless something was making them disappear. Double all patrols, he ordered. I want sensor nets around every colony world. And send a battle group to investigate the next disappearance site immediately. At once, War Master. But Krell knew, deep in his warrior's instinct, that it would not be enough. Something was hunting his ships. Something invisible and deadly, and in his secret thoughts he would never speak aloud, he wondered if the humans had been telling the truth after all. Far from Council space, hidden in a system that appeared on no galactic maps, Captain Rivera watched the Vrex battle group approach through his stealth ship's sensors. 12 vessels, heavily armed, moving in defensive formation. They were investigating the site where a Vrex patrol ship had vanished 3 days ago. Maintain stealth, Rivera ordered quietly. Let them search. They will find nothing. On the view screen, he could see the Vrex ships scanning the empty space, looking for any sign of their missing vessel. Rivera knew they would find nothing because there was nothing to find. The patrol ship had not been destroyed. It had been captured, its crew transferred to a prison facility, the ship itself taken to human space for study. Captain, the battle group is splitting up to widen their search pattern, his tactical officer reported. Good, Rivera said. That makes our job easier. Target the lead cruiser. Prepare the dampening field. Field charged and ready, sir. Rivera waited, watching the Vrex cruiser move away from its support ships. The humans had learned patience in these past months, learned to wait for the perfect moment, to strike only when the enemy was most vulnerable. The galaxy had tried to teach humanity to be weak and submissive. Instead, humanity had learned to be predators. Fire, he said calmly. The Revenant remained invisible as it released a pulse of energy that no known species had ever encountered. The pulse washed over the Vrex cruiser, and every system on the ship went dark simultaneously. Power, weapons, shields, life support, even emergency backups. All of it failed at once. The cruiser drifted helplessly in space, its crew trapped inside a dead ship. Dampening field successful, the tactical officer reported. Target is completely disabled. No signals transmitted. Send the recovery team, Rivera ordered. I want that ship and its crew secured before the others realize what happened. By the time the rest of the Vrex battle group noticed that their lead cruiser had stopped responding, it was already too late. The ship was gone, pulled into a jump point that closed behind it, leaving no trace. The Vrex frantically scanned the area, but their sensors showed nothing. No weapons fire, no energy signatures, no jump point activation. Their cruiser had simply vanished, just like all the others. In the council chambers, emergency sessions were being called with increasing frequency. The Vrex were demanding action, claiming they were under attack by an unknown force. Other species were reporting their own problems. The Kretal had lost 3 trading stations to mysterious system failures. The Depthswalker colonies were experiencing unexplained power outages. Even the mighty Luminary had reported strange sensor readings near their border worlds. Counselor Mira stood before the council, her slender form rigid with frustration. The evidence is clear, she said, her musical voice carrying through the vast chamber. These incidents began shortly after humanity's withdrawal. The pattern is obvious. You believe the humans are responsible? Thessian asked, his tone skeptical. They have no ships, no weapons, no military capacity whatsoever. Our observers confirmed their complete demilitarization. Then perhaps we should ask what our observers actually saw, Mira replied. The humans are among the most adaptable species in the galaxy. Did we truly believe they would accept their fate without any resistance? The humans are gone, Krell buzzed from his throne. They scattered to their homeworld and a few remaining colonies stripped of everything that made them dangerous. They do not have the capability to do what you are suggesting. Then what is happening to your ships, War Master? Mira challenged. 17 vessels have disappeared in the past 6 weeks. Your battle groups find nothing, no evidence, no clues. Either you have the most incompetent military in galactic history, or something is actively hunting your forces. Krell's carapace flushed with anger, but he did not respond. I propose we send an envoy to Earth, Mira continued. Let us speak with the humans directly and determine if they know anything about these incidents. Impossible, Thessian declared. The Council does not negotiate with condemned species. We certainly do not ask them for explanations like nervous children. Then we are fools, Mira said quietly. The session ended without resolution, and Mira returned to her chambers feeling a weight of dread. Something was moving in the darkness of space, something that struck without warning and left no trace. And if it was not humanity, then the galaxy had a far bigger problem than anyone wanted to admit. But Mira had lived through 8 centuries and seen much in that time. She had learned to trust her instincts, and every instinct she had told her the same thing. Humanity had not accepted defeat. Humanity had not scattered in fear. Humanity had disappeared for a reason, and that reason was becoming terrifyingly clear. They were preparing for war. On Mars, Dr. Okonkwo reviewed the latest reports from Captain Rivera with satisfaction. The operations were going better than expected. The Vrex military was growing paranoid, jumping at shadows, seeing threats everywhere. Soon they would make a mistake. Soon they would leave something truly valuable undefended. And when they did, humanity would be there to take it. "How long until we are ready for the next phase?" she asked her staff. 3 more months, Director. The fleets are nearly complete. The new weapon systems are tested and operational. The hidden bases are fully supplied. We can begin full-scale operations whenever you give the order. Good, Okonkwo said. Very good. Let the galaxy continue to wonder what is happening. Let them argue and doubt and fear. When we finally reveal ourselves, I want them to understand exactly what they created when they betrayed us. In the darkness between the stars, humanity's machines of war continued to multiply. And the galaxy, arrogant in its ancient power, had no idea what was coming. 1 year had passed since the Council's judgment, and the galaxy was about to learn what humanity really meant by the word revenge. It started on the outer edge of Rex territory, at a military station called Krell's Fist. The station was massive, a fortress in space that housed 10,000 Vrex soldiers and enough firepower to destroy a fleet. It was one of War Master Krell's proudest achievements, built on the ruins of a human colony world that the Vrex had claimed. The station commander was reviewing patrol reports when every screen in the command center suddenly went dark. Emergency power failed to activate. Backup systems did not respond. Within seconds, the entire station was floating dead in space, its weapons offline, its shields down, its communications silent. Then the lights came back on. But instead of the normal displays, every screen in the station showed the same image, a simple message in clean, precise letters. "You took our home. We are taking it back." Before the Vrex could respond, human ships materialized out of empty space. Not the small primitive vessels the Council had seen during humanity's trial. These were warships unlike anything the galaxy had encountered. Sleek and dark, covered in technology that bent light around them, armed with weapons that made Vrex sensors scream warnings. The human fleet did not fire a single shot. They did not need to. Every Vrex ship that tried to launch from the station's docks found its systems disabled before it could leave. Every weapon platform that tried to target the human vessels simply stopped working. The humans had complete control of every electronic system within 100,000 kilometers. "This is Captain Marcus Rivera of the human vessel Revenant," a voice said over every communication channel on the station. "Your weapons are disabled. Your ships are grounded. You are completely at our mercy. However, unlike the Vrex, we do not make war on the helpless. You have 1 hour to evacuate the station. Any Vrex who wishes to leave will be permitted to board your transports and depart safely. Anyone who remains after 1 hour will be taken prisoner and held for war crimes tribunals." The station commander stared at the screens in disbelief. "This is impossible. The humans have no fleet, no weapons." The Council confirmed it. "Apparently," his second-in-command said quietly, "the Council was wrong." Across Rex space, the same scene repeated itself at 14 other military installations. Human fleets appeared without warning, disabled every defense, and offered the Vrex one chance to leave peacefully. Most of the Vrex soldiers took it, evacuating in whatever transport ships their mysterious attackers allowed to function. Those who tried to fight found their weapons would not fire, their ships would not launch, their communications would not work. The humans had complete dominance over every electronic system the Vrex possessed, and they used that dominance with terrifying precision. But humanity was not only striking at Vrex territory. Throughout galactic space, human ships appeared at locations that had been carefully chosen. A Kretal weapons facility that had been secretly building illegal antimatter bombs. A luminary black site where client species prisoners were held without trial. A Depthswalker research station conducting experiments on sentient beings. At each location, The humans arrived, disabled all defenses, documented the crimes being committed, and transmitted the evidence to every news network in the galaxy. Then they destroyed only the illegal operations, leaving everything else intact and unharmed. No civilians were hurt. No unnecessary damage was done. The humans struck with surgical precision, exposing corruption and criminality that the Council had long ignored. In the Council chambers, chaos reigned. High Arbiter Thessian stood before the emergency assembly, his scales flushed dark with rage and fear. Around him, the other Council members were shouting, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of sound. "This is an act of war," Krell buzzed furiously. "The humans must be destroyed immediately. I demand the full military response of the Council." "With what military?" Councillor Mira asked calmly. "The humans have demonstrated technology far beyond anything we possess. They appear and disappear at will. They control electronic systems from a distance. They strike wherever they choose. What exactly do you propose we do, War Master? We have billions of ships, thousands of worlds. The combined might of the Council species can crush this human rebellion. Can we?" Mira turned to address the full Council. "The humans have been at war with the Vrex for 1 year, and in that time they have captured or disabled 37 Vrex installations without losing a single ship. Not one. They have struck at 14 different Council territories, exposed illegal operations in all of them, and vanished before any response could be mounted. They have demonstrated complete superiority in technology, tactics, and strategic thinking, and they have done all of this while causing minimal civilian casualties. You defend them?" Thessian demanded. "I state facts," Mira replied. "Facts that this Council chose to ignore. We were told the humans were primitive and weak. We were told they had been completely disarmed. We were told they posed no threat. Every one of those statements was a lie, and now we are facing the consequences." Before Thessian could respond, every screen in the Council chambers flickered and changed. The face of Ambassador David Chen appeared, older now than when they had last seen him, harder, but with the same steady gaze. "Greetings, Council," Chen said. "I suspect you have questions. Let me answer the most important one. Yes, humanity is responsible for the attacks across galactic space. We are not hiding from that fact. We are declaring it openly. You are in violation of your sentence," Thessian shouted at the screen. "You were ordered to disarm. You were forbidden from military action. We complied with your order," Chen replied calmly. "You demanded we dismantle our military forces in Council-monitored space. We did exactly that. Every ship you observed, every weapon you counted, every facility you inspected was dismantled as ordered. You never asked what we were doing in the space you were not monitoring. That was your mistake, not ours." The implication hit like a hammer. The Council had watched humanity disarm in known space, while humanity built an entirely new military infrastructure in hidden systems. They had followed the letter of the Council's law while completely ignoring its spirit. "Impossible," Thessian said, but his voice lacked conviction. "The resources required, the technology, the time needed to build what you have shown us. It is beyond what humanity could achieve in a single year." "You are correct," Chen agreed. "Which is why we did not start a year ago. We started planning for this possibility the day we made first contact with the galactic community. Every human knows Earth's history, Arbiter. We know what happens to species who trust in the good faith of others. We know what happens to the weak. So we prepared. While we negotiated for membership in your civilization, we also built contingencies in case that civilization betrayed us." Chen's expression hardened. "You wanted to teach us a lesson about power and submission. Instead, you taught us that we were right to prepare. You confirmed every fear we had about the galactic community. You showed us that justice is just a word you use to justify whatever serves your interests. So what do you want?" Mira asked, her voice cutting through the stunned silence. "Revenge? Conquest? To replace the Council with human rule? We want justice," Chen replied simply. "Real justice, not the political theater you performed at our trial. War Master Krell claimed we attacked the Vrex without provocation. That was a lie, and we now have evidence proving it." A new image appeared on the screens. Sensor logs, communication records, orders from Krell himself authorizing attacks on human civilian colonies, evidence that had somehow been hidden from the Council, or more likely evidence the Council had chosen not to see. "The Vrex attacked us first," Chen continued. They killed our people, destroyed our homes, and then blamed us for defending ourselves. And the Council accepted their lies because it was politically convenient, because the Vrex are powerful and we were not. Krell remained silent, his carapace pale with shock. The evidence on the screens was irrefutable. We also have evidence of illegal activities throughout Council space, Chen said. Weapons programs in violation of your own laws. Prison camps where species are held without trial. Research stations conducting experiments that your own codes forbid. For years, the elder species have claimed to represent civilization and order, but you are no better than anyone else. You simply have the power to hide your crimes. What do you demand? Thessian asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Dissolve the Council, Chen said. Create a new governing body with equal representation for all species, not just the elder races. Establish real justice, real oversight, real consequences for violations, and most importantly, never again assume that mercy is weakness or that patience is cowardice. And if we refuse? Krell asked. Chen smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. Then humanity will ensure that the corruption and criminality of the Council becomes known to every species in the galaxy. We will cut off all trade with Council territories. We will provide advanced technology to client species who wish to break free, and we will continue to strike at every illegal operation we find until you understand that the old order is finished. The transmission ended, leaving the Council in stunned silence. 2 years had passed since the Council passed judgment on humanity, and the galaxy was a very different place. The massive structure that floated in neutral space above Zenith Prime was no longer called the Council Chambers. It had been renamed the Assembly Hall, and the changes went far deeper than just the name. Ambassador David Chen walked through corridors that had once been designed to intimidate visitors, to remind them of their place in the galactic hierarchy. Now those corridors were open and bright, filled with representatives from hundreds of species, not just the 7 elder races. The old thrones were gone, replaced by a circular arrangement where every delegate sat at the same level. No one above, no one below. Chen found Councillor Mira waiting for him near the central assembly floor. The Talsheen had been instrumental in the reforms, one of the few council members who had fought for change rather than resist it. She had been elected as the first speaker of the new assembly, a position of coordination rather than command. Ambassador Chen, she said, her musical voice warm with genuine respect. Thank you for coming. Speaker Mira, Chen replied with a slight bow. I received your message. You said it was urgent. The Assembly is taking its first vote as a unified body, Mira explained as they walked. We are ratifying the new Charter of Galactic Rights. I wanted you to be here to witness it. Your people fought hard for this moment. They entered the assembly floor and Chen was struck by how different it felt from his trial 2 years ago. Then he had stood alone, bound and judged by species who saw themselves as his betters. Now he walked freely among equals, a recognized representative of a sovereign species. The vote was quick and unanimous. The charter passed with support from over 800 species, establishing rights and protections that had never existed under the old council. Freedom of travel, fair trade practices, protection from exploitation, due process for all accused parties, simple rights that should have always existed but had been denied to species without power. After the vote, Chen met with several delegates who wanted to thank humanity directly. The representatives of client species who had been freed from their vassalage. The ambassadors of minor civilizations who finally had voices in galactic affairs. Even a few members of the elder species who had supported the changes from the beginning. But not everyone was happy with the new order. In a dark corner of the galaxy, in the remains of what had once been the Vrex Dominion's proud empire, Warmaster Krell sat in a small cell awaiting trial for war crimes. His people had abandoned him, his government had collapsed, and his legacy was one of shame and defeat. A guard approached his cell. You have a visitor. Krell looked up to see Dr. Sarah Okonkwo standing outside the energy barrier. The human woman regarded him with eyes that showed no hatred, no triumph, just a cold assessment. Why are you here? Krell asked, his voice a tired buzz. To understand, Okonkwo replied. You started a war that destroyed your own civilization. You fabricated evidence, attacked civilians, and nearly brought your entire species to ruin. I want to know why. Krell was silent for a long moment. Fear, he finally said. Humanity was growing too quickly, becoming too influential. We saw how your species networked across the galaxy, how other species respected you despite your youth. The elder races have ruled for 10,000 years, and suddenly there were humans everywhere, changing things, asking questions, making people think differently. We were afraid of becoming irrelevant, so you tried to destroy us first? Yes, and we failed. Your species is more resilient than we understood. More patient. More dangerous. Okonkwo nodded slowly. We are not naturally warriors, Krell. We did not want any of this. We came to the galaxy hoping for friendship and cooperation, but we also learned from our own history. On Earth, civilizations that trusted without preparation were conquered. Cultures that showed only weakness were destroyed. So we prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. And now you have won, Krell said bitterly. No, Okonkwo replied. Now we have a chance to build something better. That is not the same as winning. Winning would have been if none of this had been necessary. If the Council had given us justice instead of forcing us to take it. She turned to leave, then paused. You will stand trial, Krell. You will be judged by representatives from multiple species, including your own. You will have the right to defend yourself, to present evidence, to face your accusers. All the rights you denied to humanity. That is the difference between your civilization and ours. After she left, Krell sat in silence, understanding finally what humanity had done. They had not sought revenge through destruction. They had sought it through demonstration. By being better than their enemies, by showing mercy when they could have shown cruelty, they had proven that the old way was wrong. Back on Mars, Okonkwo returned to her office in the Defense Intelligence Complex. Much of it was being dismantled now. The hidden bases were being converted to civilian purposes. The massive fleets were being reduced to a size appropriate for defense rather than conquest. The weapons that could devastate worlds were being carefully stored away, kept only as a last resort. Captain Rivera was waiting for her. The stealth ship captain looked uncomfortable in formal dress uniform. You wanted to see me, Director? I am not Director anymore, Okonkwo said with a slight smile. That position is being eliminated. Defense intelligence is being reorganized under civilian oversight. No more secret operations without approval from elected representatives. That seems dangerous, Rivera said. What if we face another threat? Then we will deal with it openly and honestly, Okonkwo replied. The reason we had to operate in secret was because we knew the Council was corrupt and would not give us justice. Now we have a real assembly with real oversight. If we cannot trust our own government, then we have built nothing worth protecting. Rivera nodded slowly. What happens to people like me? Career military who spent the past 2 years fighting in shadows? You have a choice, Okonkwo said. The human defense forces are being restructured. We will always need ships and soldiers to protect our people, but the mission is changing from preparation for betrayal to actual defense of legitimate interests. Some will find that boring after what we have done. Others will be relieved. And you? What will you do? Okonkwo looked out the window at the Martian landscape, red and stark and beautiful. I am going to retire, spend time with my family, try to remember what it is like to live without preparing for war every moment of every day. Humanity deserves leaders who think about building the future, not just surviving it. In the assembly hall, the first full session in the new galactic order was coming to a close. Hundreds of species had spoken, each sharing their hopes and concerns for the future. It would be a long process, building consensus among so many different civilizations. But it was a better process than the old system of rule by the powerful. Ambassador Chen stood to give humanity's closing statement. 2 years ago, I stood in a very different chamber and heard my species condemned for defending ourselves, he began. I was told we were too young, too aggressive, too dangerous for civilized space. I was told we needed to be controlled for the good of the galaxy. He paused, looking around at the assembled delegates. The species who said those things were not wrong to be concerned. Humanity is dangerous. We are adaptable and stubborn and very, very hard to kill. When we are betrayed, we remember. When we are pushed, we push back harder. These are not always comfortable traits for our neighbors. But those same traits also make us loyal friends and reliable partners. When we give our word, we keep it. When we see injustice, we fight against it. When we build something, we build it to last. The Council tried to break us because they feared what we might become. Instead, they taught us what we needed to be. Chen's voice grew stronger. We are not here to rule the galaxy. We are not here to impose human values on other species. We are here to be part of a true civilization, one where all voices matter and all species have the right to determine their own futures. That is what we fought for. That is what we will continue to defend. But let me be clear about one thing, he said, his tone hardening. Humanity will never again allow ourselves to be victims. We will never again trust in promises without preparing for betrayal. The fleets we built are not gone. They are simply resting. The bases we established in deep space are still there. The weapons we developed are safely stored. We hope we never need them again. We will work every day to build a galaxy where strength without mercy is seen as shameful, and justice is more than just a word. But if that hope fails, if the galaxy forgets the lessons of these past 2 years, humanity will be ready. He smiled, and this time it was warm and genuine. Fortunately, I believe we will remember, not because we fear human ships or human weapons, but because we have all learned something important. Mercy is not weakness, justice is not optional, and the strong have a responsibility to protect the weak, not exploit them. Humanity came to the stars hoping to find friends. We found betrayal instead. But in responding to that betrayal, we also found allies who share our values, species who believe in something better than survival of the strongest. Together, we can build the civilization the Council only pretended to be.